Hello and welcome everyone. I'm excited to have each and every one of you here today for this empowering yet interesting webinar, She Brand, She Conquer, Crafting an Authentic Personal Brand for Business Success. I'm Anam Kamran, founder Always, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's session. For an entrepreneur like us, me and you, one of the most powerful tools at our disposal is our personal brand. Today, we have the honor of learning from a seasoned personal branding coach who will guide us through the art of crafting an authentic personal brand. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. And I'm sure you are as excited as I am to soak in her insights. Without further ado, let me introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Khadija Osman, founder of Grit Coaches. Khadija is not just a personal branding coach, but she is a beacon of empowerment, guiding individuals towards unlocking their full potential. With a rich background in helping entrepreneurs build authentic and impactful personal brand, Khadija is here to share her expertise with us. Before we dive into the presentation, a quick reminder, some house rules for the session. To please stay engaged and feel free to drop down any questions and queries if you have in the chat or in the comments. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session towards the end of the session, and Khadija will address your queries. Without further delay, I present you Khadija Osman, our personal branding coach for today's webinar. Khadija, please take it away.
Hi, Anam. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And welcome to all those who are watching. Today, I will be sharing a bit more about personal branding and how to craft your authentic personal brand for business success. So I think I'll start my presentation because that has my introduction too. So just sharing my screen. Oh, just so do forgive me. I am non-tech, um, and I will try to be as tech savvy as possible for this session.
No problem,
So,
Khadija. You are
so
good.
crafting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anam, for understanding. So, when it comes to crafting an authentic personal brand for success, I would like to give a brief introduction of who I am and why you should be listening to me on this topic. So, I'm Khatija Osman, the founder of Grit Coaches, which is a coaching community. I'm ICF PCC trained, a master NLP practitioner. And when I say coaching platform, so a lot of people have, they're not very familiar with what coaching is. So we provide career, business coaching, personal branding coaching, all that is required nowadays for personal and professional success. So if you are looking for some coach, feel free to DM me or reach out to me. Um, so over the years, I've like almost a decade now. I've been building my own personal brand, and I've been invited to morning shows, featured on magazines, um, and even nominated for awards. So I think that has taught me a thing or two about what it requires to craft um, a very authentic brand, which not only helps you, but also helps your business, in the sense that there's often a thing that people with small businesses come up with. They say that their friends and family don't facilitate them because they have a small business, and why do they go out and buy from celebrities who don't already need their money because they have money? Well, the difference lies in the personal brand. A celebrity has invested years on building a personal brand, and somebody who's just started out has not developed that business brand and that personal brand. So, what makes a small business different from a big business? It's that personal touch, and that personal touch can be achieved through building a personal brand. So, before we dive deeper, I would like to set all expectations clear about what this webinar is not. It's not about getting 10,000 followers overnight. It's not about building an impactful brand with little or no effort, because nothing um, is gained without putting in the required hard work. And it will not guarantee immediate sale of your products or services. But my promise to you for today is that I will be sharing 4 ways of building your personal brand that can improve your income, plus a 4-step framework to define your personal brand, along with some effective strategies to build your personal brand. So, you were a brand the minute you were born. Each one of us is a brand. We have a unique way of interacting with those around us. Like, even as a baby, you cried in a different manner. You asked for milk, or you moved in a different manner to other people, to other babies. And this is what made you distinct and different. So, in essence, in today's world, uh, building your personal brand is something, it's your currency. And it's how the public perceives you, and it is what is said about you when you're not in the room, as Richard Branson, who we will be looking at later in detail, shared. I think it was Richard Branson, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, the thing is that um, when it comes to your own personal brand, uh, how you are perceived, how you interact, as I mentioned, is all part of your personal branding. And often when people come to me, clients come to me, uh, and they need help for their personal branding, and especially people who are on LinkedIn or professional platforms, they have lots of inhibitions regarding building their own personal brand. And I often identify with them because I had similar anxieties and inhibitions when I started off. One of them was that I had very little confidence in myself and my ability to present my ideas and my thoughts. And then I feared judgment. Often people think that if we start posting a lot, or start making video content, then others will think that we are projecting ourselves too much, and perhaps we are showing off. Whereas personal branding is not about showing off. It is having a bit more confidence in what you are offering and communicating to the world. What differentiates a person who is very confident and can strike up a conversation everywhere? Um, the difference between that person having a strong personal brand is that other people become more aware of their existence. So, unless you speak up, unless you post, nobody is going to know you exist. So it's your way of communicating to the world, to reaching out to the world. And this is something very essential when you're building a business, especially when you've just started off. And also, when I started off, I had no clue either. Like, what does it mean to have a personal brand? What is it all about? And then I viewed people chatting up, and uh, as I mentioned, people who are overly confident, not overly, I would say, let me correct myself, people who are confident and communicating their worth, um, as people who are probably wasting time and they have nothing better to do. Whereas later on in the session, we will see how important it is to talk to people, to communicate with them, to engage with them. It not just only helps in building your brand, but it also teaches you a lot about human behavior, something which is very essential. if you want to be successful in business. And also being a South Asian, uh, shall I answer the questions now?
No, I think we'll address all the questions at the end. I'm just putting in the
Okay.
chat जो भी
Okay.
questions आ रहे हैं,
Or
and then we'll
okay.
answer at the end.
Okay. So, and being a South Asian, also another inhibition I had, like, what will my mother say? What will my sisters say or my cousins say about me putting myself out there? Will I be judged? Will I be accepted? Or will they be ridiculing me or making fun of me? And that acceptance is very important to us. That validation is very important to us. And one of the reasons why people don't go out building their personal brands because they fear judgment. So this was a bit about the barriers. Next. So you can share this in the chat box. What challenges do you face while building your personal brand? And I'll be happy to answer the questions towards the ends. Towards the end, some examples of powerful personal brands. Um, I'm not sure if you've heard about Richard Branson, but he's a very famous businessman who owns the Virgin Group. And one thing that anybody can notice is that he has more followers on his personal LinkedIn profile than he has on his pages, which tells us how important successful business people hold personal brands to be, how important they hold them. And you can see he's even mentioned that he's dyslexic, which says a lot about him sharing vulnerabilities and being more authentic. So we will delve deeper into this, the authenticity part, and how you need to show your vulnerabilities to sound more authentic. And then this Shadi Zahrai, she is an Australian-based lawyer, and she has millions of followers on YouTube. And she's another example of someone who's created a powerful personal brand. She started with YouTube videos, um, which actually catered to the problems that people were facing, like, when it comes to performance, when it comes to confidence. So basically, self development. And this is how she ended up making a really strong personal brand. So she is a brand. She's not an actor. She was a lawyer, and she is the product now. So you are the product. When we say what's your personal brand, so it's more like you being the product. You have, and when it comes to services business, I would like to especially add for people who are in marketing, in other service related businesses, you are always the product. People buy you. They don't buy the marketing, they don't buy the service as such. They are going by the brand that you've built for yourself, the credibility that you've built, the respect you have earned. So especially for services, you have, it's like something, it's a non-negotiable. You have to build a strong person brand. So a moment. So what opportunities does building your personal brand offer you? Well, people develop more trust towards you, and then if you develop a following over time, you also get offers to become an affiliate, and then you get speaking opportunities for that, um, which you can charge for as well later on. As I shared, you are the product. And you can also offer membership programs via YouTube, Facebook groups, or blogs for premium content. Like, just going back to the example of celebrities. Um, what has a celebrity done? They've spent years building their brand, and when they are those established actors, then they can sell just about anything, and people will buy because they like the brand that the actor or actress made for themselves. So they like the brand, that particular actor, and hence they're buying all those. That's what creates the following and the fans. And a bit about me, again, the testimonials. So this is another example of personal branding. Why am I sharing these testimonials with you? Because uh, you need to be sharing testimonials as well. You need to be sharing with the world if other people have had good experience working with you. So this strengthens or endorses your personal brand. And the four-step framework to define your personal brand. Well, um, when it comes to your personal brand again, it's about your brand purpose and values, the brand statement, and we will be going into a dissection of each of these one by one, and cultivating a brand story and determining your brand elements. So the brand elements, I will just touch upon over here because we will be focusing more on the other things. Brand elements are your logo, your brand colors, and your social media profile. So this is something which is at the bottom of the pyramid. It's not something uh, it's not something that you need to focus too much on. What you need to focus more is on the why and the values. So when it comes to first discovering uh, your brand purpose and your values, I would like to share this concept of ikigai, which is a Japanese term that relates to reason or reason for being. So basically, there's a book on it, by the way. If you want to read up, you can always read that up. Um, the book, just a background of that, it focuses on people who've lived up to 100 years or more in Japan. And uh, there was a research on how come these people lived so long? Uh, what did they do differently from the rest of the world, averaging much shorter lives? So what they were doing differently was they had a reason for being, and it was something which was their strength, something which they loved to do, and they could be paid for. So even when you're looking for a business, like, when if you're just an aspiring entrepreneur and you're not sure what you want to take up as a business, this is a good place to start with. What are you passionate about? For instance, I was passionate about helping people, which eventually led me to become a coach. Personal branding is something I was good at. And since I was good at it, it was something which was my passion, and it could be something that I could be paid for in this day and age, because earlier on I don't think it was as important as it is nowadays with the prevalence of social media. Even employers and recruiters tend to see your LinkedIn. It's more like your CV nowadays. So, yes, but no matter what you're doing, this is a good starting point to see what your strength is and what can you be paid for and what's your passion. So don't just start a business just because you feel, uh, that can get you more money. See if it's something that really makes you happy or that you would do for free as well. Because if you don't have it as a passion, you will not be liking it when it's not paying you off initially. So, coming to your brand statement, which is the third, um, which is the next step, is that first you need to be clear on what profession, what values you have, and then your target audience, and then you can define a certain outcome. For example, with me, like I'm a personal branding coach, I'm a passionate personal branding coach. So it's my passion, and um I believe in the power of authenticity. So this is how I help people craft impactful stories for their businesses and achieve the desired outcome is the career opportunities and the business success. So again, the breakdown for this is um, passionate adds a personal touch to the statement. Profession, personal branding coach. So if you're a graphic designer, you can add graphic designing. I'm an entrepreneur. Um, and what values do you uphold? I'm an entrepreneur who believes in bringing the best quality to my customers. And then your target audience, best quality to women. Um, so if you are in, a services business catering to women, like coaching women, or if you are in the product-based businesses, like you have a fashion wear or a clothing line. So you have to be very specific with your target audience. Some people, like people who are into the food business, they are often not clear about their target audience, and they say that everybody is our audience. Yes, everybody might eat what you are offering, but you still have to target it to somebody. Like um, there has to be some particular quality that person needs to have, that so they know that you are communicating to them, you are talking to them, your story has to speak to someone. And yes, the desired outcome is confidently showcasing the unique strengths to unlock career opportunities and business success. So yes, and your desired outcome, if you are into the food business, you can say for people to have an exceptional culinary experience, and so on. So you have to be, once you are clear on your target audience, you can then craft a message on the desired outcome. What is it that your target audience really wants? So this should be your caption, something you should have on your LinkedIn caption, in your Instagram bio, your Facebook bio. Have it across all the platforms that you use. Because if there isn't cohesion, like, if one platform tells a different story about you and the other tells a different story, people can get confused if they are following you on two platforms or more. So make sure that the story is seen across platforms. This is something very important if you want to um, keep something for friends and family. Make sure you don't add any other random people on it. Then just have it as a personal account. But otherwise, if it's a business page uh, for products, then it's easier to maintain that separate identity. But if you're in services business, the line can often get blurry. So make sure you don't do that and you're clear across platforms with your messages. So when it comes to the brand story, yes. So the brand story is basically concerned with three steps. Where are you now and what drives you? What drives you are your values. The journey, what experience have you had so far that led you to where you are, and the future vision. So all of us, we've had a certain past and certain experiences. Probably you had a very good life so far, or maybe you had lots of challenges. So, whatever your experience was, don't be afraid to share that, because when you share your story, it like when you share where you're coming from, people like to have that background knowledge and see it develops more relatability, and then the journey you can always tie it to where you are at present. So whatever you experienced so far, where you are at present, and where would you ultimately like to go. So your story has to have all these three elements. You're connecting your past with your present and your future vision. So, effective strategies to build your personal brand. Have a content strategy that works for you, network online and offline. So, having a content strategy, when I say that, um, it's basically uh, not everybody has the same kind of content that comes to them naturally. For instance, I am not very comfortable making videos or reels, and a lot of people aren't comfortable, which is all right. That does not mean that you can still can't make your personal brand. You still can make your personal brand. So don't get overwhelmed by all that you see online. You can always create like work around your strengths and your weaknesses. This is one of the keys to personal branding as well, working around your strengths and your weaknesses. And then engage with your audience. So yes, engaging with your audience is very important again. A lot of people, they post things, and when they get comments, they either don't like them, don't respond to them, but make sure you try to respond to each and every comment. All these big influencers on LinkedIn, on Facebook, they always answer comment on like comment back on every comment that they've received, either with a thank you or whatever. They always respond. So what are they doing essentially? They are making the other person feel valued and important. So for people to pay attention to you, you need to pay attention to them first, and you need to make them feel good. So, uh, when you make them feel good, they will also feel obliged to follow you or to engage with more posts that you bring. So you're building rapport essentially with them, a connection, a relationship. And another thing is asked to be featured on podcasts or shows. Like when Anam posted about um, that she was looking for guests, I reached out and I shared I wanted to be featured. And she was kind enough to accept that. So don't be afraid. This is how I've been on some of the morning shows. You can ask around, you can find connections, and you can um, find opportunities to be featured. Don't let go of them. That's part of your personal branding. Each one of us has something valuable to share with the rest of the world. Don't underestimate your value. Accept your value and try to help people with that. So when the show the element that you are showing off comes in, that thought comes in, always tell yourself that your purpose is much more than just showing off. You're actually trying to give value to people, and if they didn't receive that value, they would probably missing out on something. Like, I felt I had a message to share with people who want to build personal brands. So um, I hope you will find this valuable too. So yes, be confident in your skills and open to reaching out to people and asking for opportunities, because they don't always come knocking on your door. You have to actively go and find them. So, as I shared, the content strategy should work for you. It can be video. If you can do videos, that's great, because you can just record them on your phone. You can record them on Zoom. There are so many editing apps nowadays, and then you can repurpose it and use it on different platforms. So this is an advantage of videos, that they can be repurposed and used for multiple platforms. However, if it's not something that sits well with you or doesn't come naturally to you, you think you need to be all dressed up and dolled up. By the way, which is another thing I'd like to share, that uh, one of the reasons I don't make a lot of videos is that I feel I need to have all my makeup on, I need to have my hair blow dried, which is actually not true, because I've done some videos where I haven't, dressed up. I have dressed down rather. And people have really engaged and liked those videos, because it didn't matter how I was looking. It was the content that mattered to them. Was I saying something valuable? Uh, did it help somebody? So what you're saying holds much more value than how you're looking. So focus on what's important, and try to overlook these small details if they are coming in your way, because in the bigger picture, and as in the bigger vision, they are of no importance at all, really. However, if you still feel that, video content is not for you, then go for written content. You can write blogs, newsletters, or have content-based posts. And then testimonials, social proof. Some people think that, it's a real hassle to get testimonials. Um, well, there's a way of getting testimonials as well. Instead of asking people outright that, please leave me a review, please send me a testimonial, people will often be very reluctant to do that, because they don't want to apply their mind. So you can make it easier for them, and you can just ask them a question. What did you find most valuable in my session, if you are a service provider in my service? And if you have a product, what did you like best about our product? Um, and like, ask them a very specific question that they can give an answer to. And then you can use that as a screen, ask them for permission that can I use this as a testimonial. If they're not willing, just take a screenshot, remove their name, like, um, with the sort of mark it off, and let the testimonial or whatever feedback they've given stay, and use it on your platforms. So there are multiple ways of using testimonials. A lot of people get fixated with perfection, that, things need to be a certain way. Go with whatever comes naturally and easily. Try to simplify things and simplify your life, instead of making everything very difficult. Um, so yes, when if you can do all these three things on a weekly basis, then you can be sure you will have a very strong personal or business brand. And uh, why do I say that? It's because you are engaging the different senses of your audience. You're not just through the videos, their their visual sense is being stimulated through testimonials and reading, like, their thought process is being stimulated. And so, like, catering to multiple senses. And with the video, also the auditory sense, because they can hear you. So the hearing and the visual both are being catered to. So when you engage all these different senses, because different senses, as you know, are attached with different parts of the brain, and they stimulate different parts of the brain. So What makes memorable experience? Memorable experiences are made when multiple parts of your brain are stimulated. So make sure you do that. And being authentic, since the title of this session as well is crafting an authentic personal brand, and I've been stressing a lot on, what do what comes to you naturally, because what's natural will make you authentic. When you are trying to be something that you're not naturally, like with the blow dried hair, with overly made up, but if you're not like that every day, if you are like that every day, then that's what comes to you authentically, perhaps. But if you're not, don't do it. Do what comes to you naturally. Be like you are in everyday life. Like, you don't have to be, um, you're not in a competition with any of the celebrities, or, people, or the models with a zero size. So, being authentic, I would like to share about the pratfall effect. Now, this is a psychological phenomenon where you actually make mistakes. If you, they say that, if you make a mistake, uh, the relatability of your audience increases with you. Even for leaders, it is said that when you, like, drop something, or say a wrong word, and I would like to say I've deliberately had that typo, that you know wrong spelling of branding right there. Uh, but what a coincidence, because this was actually by mistake. And but the thing is that it creates relatability. That, the person that I'm listening to is just like me, make mistakes. They're not perfect. I'm not either. But that means that, if they can build a personal brand, so can I. In building connection and trust through engagement, as we've already talked about. And another thing that people never put much importance to is building goodwill. One thing I've not mentioned here, but I would like to share when it comes to goodwill, is that when you do things for free for people, like, if you refer them or connect them to a person that they want to be connected to, and it's in your power to connect them, then it builds goodwill. Over the years, I've done lots and lots of this thing. I've given pro bono sessions, so don't be afraid to do things pro bono, or with this intention that it might help somebody. Because if you move with that intention that what you're doing might help somebody, then it will always come back. And that's what goodwill is all about. Um, Other ways of building goodwill or networking is by attending meetups. You can attend in-person meetups, you can attend online meetups. It's best if you do it with your niche specific. Like if you are in HR, there are lots of HR meetups, people in that in the HR fraternity. If you are a coach, there are lots of coaching platform and communities like ours. And if you're an entrepreneur, like Anna mentioned, I'm not sure if Elvis does the community part as well, then you could always become a member of such a community who are actually facilitating or giving opportunities to entrepreneurs to connect, meet, and collaborate. Yes, so refer people for no parent benefit. So I would like to ask if I did a good job so far. I can't hear the attendees, so I will just assume that I did. Uh, so this is a bit about my own personal branding boot camp. Um, Anam, this is for an international audience, so I will try to just quickly go through it. If anybody is interested, I do it on like this was for this last month, last couple of months, where I normally do a personal branding boot camp. It can be one-on-one or in group format. Basically, it's comprised of 4 sessions per week, focusing on brand clarity, confidence and visibility, content creation, like helping you create content through ChatGPT using other AI tools as well, and also dealing with the pressures that come with building a brand. Yes. So when it comes to building a brand, um, I would like to share that a lot of people have these pressures that I mentioned earlier as well, and it sort of holds them back from projecting themselves. There's often a pressure of success. Uh, what if people start liking my content? What if I become famous? Will I be able to handle the pressure? Because a lot of times, what happens is that yes, so a lot of times what happens is that people think um, that if we are famous, we will have a lot of people who will pass critical remarks, or as they say, haters or trollers, and that would negatively affect your self-esteem. So, I would like to share there's a way of dealing with those pressures as well. And if that's the only factor in coming in your way, um, I think you should probably work around the blocks that are coming up for you, those thoughts and those beliefs. And as a branding coach, my work is mostly on the beliefs, and helping you navigate those and use whatever you can to build a powerful, authentic person brand. So I hope this was helpful, and I will.
Yeah, awesome. It was really, really insightful. And thank you for sharing wonderful tips and tricks. I think these are very easy and conveniently we can integrate all these in our daily life and create our
Hmm,
personal brands because a lot of time, especially someone who is starting up and a small business owner,
hmm.
they usually don't look out for creating personal brand. They don't think that's mandatory or that's something which is necessary, but you have shared very easy tips which can be integrated in our day-to-day life. Thank you so much. We have some questions from
Yeah.
our audience.
Yes.
I think you have addressed this question already, but if you want to add any other point, what
Yes.
would you suggest? Which platform is good if I'm building a personal brand as an entrepreneur? Only LinkedIn or all platforms?
Yes. So that is a great question, Anam. Yes, that uh, really depends on what business you are in. If you are in the services business, or if you are offering digital services, then Instagram might not be the platform for you. LinkedIn might be a better platform to pitch your services, find potential clients, and you can find international clients, as you already know. So with Instagram, it doesn't work as well. But if you're a home baker, then Instagram is the place to go, or a fashion designer. So because you have things which you are a product based business, and you can post lots of pictures of your food or your clothes, even makeup artists. So I think those are industries, and people who are more active on Instagram, and should be, and that's a platform for you. Whereas for LinkedIn, I think it's more for career professionals, service businesses, coaching, etc. This is what I think.
Yeah, right, right. Next, we have what role does storytelling play in personal branding, and how can we effectively integrate our personal stories into our brand without oversharing?
Yes. So again, a very good question, Anam, without oversharing, because a lot of people don't make they don't put their stories out there because they're not ready to share. Whereas as part of your personal brand, you have to learn to be a bit more vulnerable, and sharing some some challenges that you face, something which makes you uncomfortable. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So if you have to grow your personal brand as well, you have to be a bit uncomfortable. You have to share some challenges, some vulnerabilities to make yourself more authentic. So yes, the story comes in, and this plus there is another question that comes up for me with clients a lot, and that is that I don't have a story to share. So this is what really gets me is that some people think they've had a smooth life, and then they start thinking, and when I ask them questions, they realize that what a journey they've had. We've all had journeys, those they might be some not so good, maybe share those. So we all have a story, but sometimes people come to me saying that we don't have a story. You do have a story, everybody has a story, and each one is a personal brand already. Like you are a personal brand. You just have to start accepting that and identifying, making your identity of your future vision. So what you basically people want to achieve, the outcome they want to achieve with building their personal brands, is they have a future vision of themselves, and they need to start acting like the future vision now, because you have to step into that greatness, you have to step into that identity to become that person. And it's all right if there's a gap between the future vision and the current self. You have to start acting that way, start thinking that way, start dressing up that way, communicating that way, because if you actually see that as a future part of you, what's stopping you now from acting that way?
Yeah, rightly say, and especially I can vouch for that point that everyone has a story, and by sharing your story, you can actually help them relate with you. It's it
Yes.
wouldn't look like that you are someone from some other fancy world.
Mm.
Next question, again, very important and relatable for many women entrepreneurs, especially. How can introverted individuals effectively leverage personal branding to promote their businesses without feeling overwhelmed?
Yes, again, a good question. So, I'm an introvert. I've always been an introvert, and it took a lot for me. So, I think I'm the right person to answer this question. So, you know, I used to have this community called Fempreneur, and I used to invite people there for interviews, and I would always tell them how to go online, and I will be backstage. So I was never there on the video because I was so shy of coming on. But until one guest of mine said that, I will not do it unless you are there as well. So, I can't do a monologue. You better be there interacting with me. And that guest was a really good resource. And I thought that he could add real value to my audience. So that pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I felt like, if not now, then when? And yes, there are lots of inhibitions when you are introverted. I still want to make a lot of video content, but I don't, because I am in I like being in my room, not communicating with the rest of the world, and I'm a very shy person. But you have to step out of your comfort zone, and push that feeling aside. The thing is, one thing I would like to highlight is people often um, sort of wrongly correlate introvert with confidence. You can be an introvert and you can be very confident. Like I was an introvert and shy. When you're an introvert and shy, that's a bit of a problem, but you can always work around it like I have. Because if you want all those opportunities, you have to actively go out and get there and work for them. You can't just expect them to be coming on to you. So you can be in an introvert and confident as well. If confidence is not an issue, then you just need to work around that overwhelm. There are few ways, like um, try deep breathing. Don't do lots of things which require you to be seen or visible. When it comes to videos, I'm talking about. Otherwise, you can always just continue writing. And there were so many famous columnists who never really appeared in public. The founder of Nike, he's known to be, I think, he's not Jim Collins. Jim Collins has a book written about, it's called Shoe Dog, about the founder of Nike. Now, he is somebody who was known to not show his face. So, but and even Bill Gates, if you see Bill Gates' earlier videos of his were very awkward, and he's always mentioned that, I've been a very socially awkward person. I'm an introvert. So there are people like that. But if you are running a small business, that is the main thing that separates you from somebody running a big business. Like, you have to people want to see you and they want to connect with you. You have to keep that personal touch, and you can do it on a one-on-one basis in person. If you're not comfortable with social media, don't go that route, but meet people in person, meet them one-on-one, whatever works for you. Like I personally, I'm not very comfortable in a crowd, but one-on-one, I'm very good with conversing with people one on one. So do what works with you. It doesn't have to be a struggle. This is what authenticity is about. It should come naturally to you.
Right, right. One last question. I think it's very much relevant to the introvert part. I face the challenges of imposter syndrome. What strategies can women entrepreneurs employ to build confidence and authenticity in their personal brand? Yeah, imposter syndrome is one
Yes,
challenge which
yes.
a lot of us
Yeah.
can face.
First of all, I would like to tell them to reframe this. Don't call it imposter syndrome. When you say syndrome, it sounds like a disease or an illness. So, first of all, stop calling it the imposter syndrome. Call it imposter feelings, or, um, you know, there are times when you have those feelings and you feel like an imposter. Just cut out the syndrome part, perhaps, or just add feelings, or just let it be imposter. Because when you say feelings, you know that they are momentary and they will pass. But when you call it a syndrome, it sounds like something which needs treatment and which will require much more to be sorted. So, yes, minimize the importance that you put on this word, and those feelings as well. Imposter, yes, you will feel like an imposter. I thought a lot about this initially when I started off. Um, and even now, I've noticed that women have these imposter feelings more, because we are always taught to be downplayed and not to project ourselves. So we have trouble um, accepting and acknowledging our achievements. So start by accepting and for all acknowledging all that you've done. Try to um, sort of recollect or remind yourself the things that you have achieved, and tell yourself that, I have achieved them. Because as an imposter, people feel that, we are a cheat and we are not worthy, or whatever it is. So when you remind yourself, you are silencing that voice, that imposter voice inside you, which says that, this is not true and you are just a fake. So you have to quieten that voice. And if you feel that, it's saying to you that you are not that yet, uh, so tell that voice, so it's separated from yourself. The imposter is a voice inside of you, and you are separate. The voice is continuously trying to sabotage you or downplay you, and you have to tell that voice that no, this is not true, I have accomplished so and so. And and if it says something which you feel that there's a gap in, then say to that voice that yes, I haven't done this yet, but I will do it. So reason with that voice, that imposter voice, reason with those feelings. And it's something doable, and stop thinking of it as something that you are stuck in. You are not stuck in any syndrome. These are just feelings. Sometimes you have them, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. If we take it as a feeling, and uh, we can safely say that feelings are something which comes and go. So it's not something
Hmm.
which is here to stay. Thank you so much, Khadija, for sharing insightful presentation and answering all the questions very effectively. I'm sure our participants are buzzing with inspiration and ready to embark on their personal branding journey. Um, Thank you, our audience, for being part of today's session. Stay empowered, stay connected with us, keep crafting your authentic personal brand. If you want to get connected with Khadija, she have shared her contact details already. You can watch this video on Facebook and YouTube again. And I look forward to seeing you at our future events as well. Until then, take care and stay inspired. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.